You're doing a bit. Are you thinking about what you're? Are you like? Do you have a bit on deck? Like while you're in the middle of the bit, do you like go from there? I'm gonna talk about the gym or the this or the that.
It's funny, and I don't know if you go through this. Do you ever go through? Well, first of all, when you're doing comedy, do you have a beginning, middle, and end, and do you know where you're going throughout that whole set, or do you, in the moment, go, you know what, I'm going to do the bit about that, or is it set?
It's both. It depends when. Like right now, I don't have a lot of material because my Netflix special came out in October, so November, December, January. I've basically 3 months worth of new shit, which is about 40 minutes of all told material. And then I have 20 other minutes that are they're in like the baking stage. Like I'm not ready to take them out of the oven. I fuck around with them. I'll shove them in the middle a bit sometimes, but they're not 100% legit. They need to be fleshed out. But one of those became like one of my best bits now. It's weird how that works. Like sometimes you'll just find this one part of it that makes it work, and boom, all of a sudden the bit's turbocharged. So because of that, I decide that day usually what I'm going to open with, and then I leave the middle part up to my imagination, and then I'll decide what I'm going to close with. But when I'm ready to do a Netflix special, I basically have it all mapped out. I basically have a starting point and I have an end point.
Yeah.
But even like when I'm filming, I still fuck around and ad lib because I don't think. Because every show I do, I don't have like I'm gonna say it verbatim this way every time. I always fuck around because I always feel like I could find a new way that's better if I just stay loose. And so even when I'm filming, I do it that way because I figure I want this to be like a real show.
Yeah.
If it's a real show, and I always film 4 shows, so I'm like, if it's a real show, I'll fuck around and so I've been filming before. And I fuck around. I go down a dark road and there's no one there. I'm like, all right, turn around. like, thank God for editing.
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it, though, to be kind of in the moment and go with how you're feeling when you're filming something, just because that's the way you would be anyway, right? But sometimes I've learned in the past when I'm filming something, I feel like, man, I'd like to get everything that I want out on this special, and I don't want to forget anything. Yeah, because there'll be nights where I'll be performing and I forgot a bit. I'm like, I'll be searching in my head for the bit, and I'm like, I know there's another something that goes along this, but then I just jump off it and go into another routine. So for me, I don't know, I like to keep it different every night, just try and play around. And it's weird now that a Netflix special, I just one came out, and I don't really subscribe to if I have a Netflix special out and you come to a live show, you're going to see some of those bits that I did in the Netflix special. I don't like retire the act. I know some guys go, okay, it's out there, I'm not doing this on my live show. Myself, I still like to do some of that material because I enjoy doing it, and I also have some new stuff. So I kind of... And I don't know how long that lasts. I don't know. Like I know some people were like, "Oh, I saw that on the Netflix. Why am I going to pay to see it live if I could see it at home?" But there's something about going out, I believe, to a live show and seeing a live performance. There's different nuances that you might see in a bit or an add-on. Like sometimes I add on to the joke that my jokes are sometimes never finished. So I keep adding on. So that's the way I've kind of worked it my entire career.
Yeah, Gaffigan does it that way. A lot. Brian Regan does it that way, where guys will call out bits. Like they like if you go to see Gaffigan and he doesn't do Hot Pockets, you're gonna get fucking mad. There's a lot of people like that. I retire my material, but I have brought stuff out before if people asked. Like someone asked me to bring up explaining Kim Kardashians to the aliens the other night, and I was amazed that I could remember it, but I remembered it. But for the most part, I retire shit because I feel like, in my mind, if I don't retire things, I'm not going to work on new things as much, and then it'll limit myself. And then I always feel like my newest bits are better than my older bits, because even though I've been doing stand-up for 30 years, I still think I get better at it. I think it's a constant state of self-evaluation and self-analysis and going over the material, and then realize, you have enough good sets and bad sets and great sets. You have enough that you kind of recognize the characteristics of each one and where they go wrong, and then you get better at having less bad sets and even less good sets and more great sets.
Yeah.
And and I think that for me, one big part of that is constantly writing. I write. I sit down and I write. And I write 1 hour every night after shows. That's one big one. I write during the day, but the big one for me seems to be at night when I come home from the store and I'm jazzed up. And also it's great too because everyone's asleep. It's just me and the dog. And I just fucking sit at that desk and I'll just work until my eyes start blinking and I start getting really tired. And some of my best shit I've ever come up with is that way.
Wow.
After shows, because I'm juiced up. And then I also have a process of listening to the show in the car. Because, it's one of the coolest things about Bluetooth audio, that you get your phone, you record it on your phone, and then in the car home you can listen. And you can go, I fucked that up, or I should have done it this way, or maybe if I do that, or you have an idea, like I'll pause it, I'll go, I got another idea, and then I'll make a new voice note, and then I'll go home and I'll listen to it again, I'll listen to my set again, and I'll pause it, and then start working on stuff, and that's how I've been able to expand all these bits pretty quickly.
That's interesting. I find my best bits come out of just living my life, and I have a daughter. We went to the zoo, and the nuances at the zoo that I picked up on, and I just go I'll call my mother and I'll tell her a story, and that's kind of my barometer of whether or not this thing's going to work on stage, and then I'll go to the Comedy Store and kind of flush it out there. But I just never been the guy who writes. I don't know.
You don't have to.
No,
obviously it's working for you. There's a lot of guys who don't do it that way. Bill Burr doesn't do it that way. He's one of the best ever.
Yeah.
A lot of guys who just don't write. For me, I feel like it's all about how much time and energy I put on things. And if I put more time and energy just working on my act because I'm writing, then it's going to be better. That's just how I look at it.